edit that out for sure.
All right. Good morning and welcome to Cereal Cinema. Today we will be eating cereal and talking about a new movie. This week it's Mission Impossible Fallout, and I will be eating Chips Ahoy, which I did not know was a cereal. I'll be using the largest bowl in the Norris household. I'll be drinking it with 1% milk. Aidan, what will you be having?
I will be having Oreos because I hate my health. I will also be having an average sized bowl and a smaller spoon than Mike will be having. Oh, and 2% milk because I guess I'm semi-healthy.
This kind of looks like dog food, I'm gonna be honest. How's your cereal?
It's pretty good.
It kind of looks like brown Fruit Loops. What does it taste like?
Tastes like weirdly packaged Oreos.
I found that it tasted like Oreos right when you took a bite, but then the taste of Oreos immediately left, and you immediately wanted to try to eat more so you could get that taste of Oreos back.
I see. The real test though, does it churn the milk into chocolate milk?
Yeah, a good cereal changes the color of the milk. Lucky
Correct.
Charms does that. Cheerios does not. Cheerios, not a good cereal.
Correct.
Also, I think we should say that we chose Oreos because we were looking at the list of most popular cereals in the U.S.
Right.
And in like 30 states, supposedly, it was Oreo-O's.
I don't know how.
I didn't know that was a cereal until now.
And Washington State's cereal of choice was Life cereal.
Which is really bland.
Right. I don't know why we hate ourselves, but apparently we do.
My cereal, I thought it looked like dog food, but it tastes really good. In fact, I'm going to go out and say, this is better than Cookie Crisp.
Really?
I think so.
But what's the
find
difference?
that the Chips Ahoy cereal actually tastes kind of like Chips Ahoy, whereas Cookie Crisp did not quite taste like cookies. Oh. You know, I think cereal is kind of like dog treats for humans.
How so?
Well, they look very similar, and you could get me to do basically whatever you want if you offered me cereal.
Depends what kind though. I'm not doing anything for grape nuts.
I agree. That is true. Or that koala cereal that Trader Joe's has.
I don't mind that. It's grape nuts and raisin bran that I can't get behind.
Well, I like the koala cereal, but if you're like, hey Mike, do the Shawshank Freedom Crawl, and I'll give you some koala puffs at the end.
Right. Not much.
Not even close.
All right. So what would you rate it out of 10?
The cereal? Oh, I would give this probably an 8. I thought it was really good.
Okay.
I haven't seen it change the milk colors yet, and I'm going to be honest, there's nothing good on the nutrition facts label.
Well, that's a disappointment.
But I thought it was a pretty good cereal. I've really enjoyed it. It tastes like cartoons and Saturday mornings.
Right. I guess that's what we want in cereal. And I'll give it an 8 as well. It is brown Fruit Loops. I don't love Fruit Loops because it's kind of an artificial fruit taste. This is more of a chocolate taste, and I appreciate that more. So yeah, solid 8.
I wonder if they misspelled the Fruit Loops logo because they wanted to put the Fruit Loops in the logo, and they thought if they spelled fruit with 2 O's, they could fit more cereals per logo.
It's very possible. Very possible. All right.
So let's talk about the movie.
Yes.
We both saw it. You saw it Thursday evening. I saw it Friday morning.
Correct.
What did you think of the film?
I thought it was fantastic. I'm a big fan of the Mission Impossible series.
You can't say that because you've only seen 3 of them.
Well, I've seen most of the third one.
Okay. You saw the movie Thursday evening. I saw it Friday morning. So we just saw it recently. What did you think of the movie?
I was blown away. I went in with pretty high expectations because it's the same writer and director of the previous film, Rogue Nation.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't know what to think because this series likes to top itself in every installment, and I didn't think it could top itself any more than it did in Rogue Nation. So I was very curious, but the reviews were excellent, so I had hope, a lot of hope. And watching it, I was thinking to myself, this is one of the best action movies ever made. What is your opinion, Mike?
So, if you had to rank it among the other Mission Impossible films, how would you rank them?
So there's 6 so far. And I would say my least favorite would be the second one. It's directed by John Woo, I believe, and it feels, like you said, a 90s movie, but not in a good way. It's a little bit more ridiculous than the other installments. And the movies can be, like, the stunts can be ridiculous, but they can be believable. And the second one I felt was just a little too ridiculous. And then my next least favorite would be probably the first installment. I really did like the first installment. It started all off. It's a little bit of a slower movie. It's kind of a slow burn. But it has a really good story and introduced the character of Ethan Hunt. So that'd be my second least favorite. And then I would go the third one, which they brought in J.J. Abrams for it. And I thought he did an excellent job. Yes, the late Philip Seymour Hoffman was the villain, and he's my favorite villain of his series so far.
In the third movie, I've never been so angry when a villain gets away as in the third movie on the bridge. When he gets away, and you see him in the helicopter, and Ethan goes to shoot him, and his machine gun runs out. I was so angry when I saw that. I did not want him getting away.
Correct. And then my next least favorite would be... Then it gets hard because 4, 5, and 6 are some of my favorite action movies I've ever seen.
Kind of like with Star Wars.
Correct. I'll probably go Ghost Protocol as my next one. I absolutely love it, but I think what Christopher McQuarrie did with Rogue Nation and Fallout, I liked a little bit more. And then I would do Rogue Nation, and then Fallout would be my favorite MI film yet. How about yourself?
My favorite was this one, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Then 4, then 5, then 3, then 1, then 2.
Mm-hmm.
So you liked Rogue Nation better than Ghost Protocol?
I think so.
In fairness, I don't remember Rogue Nation as well.
Right. Yeah, I thought Ghost Protocol was incredible, and so was Rogue Nation. My only reason for liking Rogue Nation maybe a little bit more was in Ghost Protocol, halfway through the movie, Tom Cruise does his unbelievable stunt of climbing the tallest tower in the world.
That gets me every time.
And the problem with that is after that happens, the movie kind of seems boring because, like, how can they top that? Rogue Nation and Fallout are filled with those kinds of stunts everywhere. So, yeah, it never kind of feels boring or anything. Not to say Ghost Protocol is boring, but they could never top that tower climbing scene. And then in Rogue Nation, they started off with Tom Cruise holding on to an airplane that's taking off. And then from there on out, it's just stunt after stunt after stunt. Like, he held his breath for 6 minutes while filming Rogue Nation, which I don't understand how he did that.
I can't do too, if I'm going to be honest.
And he also trained and learned how to fly a helicopter for 1.5 years to train for Fallout.
But yeah, it showed too. That was an incredible chase scene.
It was an incredible chase scene.
Okay. Was there anything we did not like about this film?
Fallout. Now, I saw a couple reviews talking about how it was just non-stop action, and they wanted more time to, like, breathe and kind of, not have it just be action after action. But I really liked that. It made the movie go by super fast, which kind of sucks because you wanted more, but it also is a good thing because it never dragged on or anything.
I don't have much bad to say about this movie.
There's really not many bad things you can say. I will say the plot isn't anything super new. Towards the third act, there's the big problem isn't anything that's like super fresh, but it was done in such a good way that it didn't bother me.
My one problem is I think Henry Cavill's character, I think the mustache really added to it, but not so much as to ruin Justice League. So I did have a problem with that, but other than that, I can't think of almost any bad thing to say about this movie.
Yeah.
Because there are some other movies, like the Fast and the Furious movies, that also have lots of stunts.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no plot, and clearly no
Correct,
script.
yeah.
This had a plot and a script. And so if you aren't huge on stunts, you'll, I think, be entertained following the plot and the script and all the twists and turns it takes.
Yeah, it's a story that demands the audience viewer to like listen to every line of dialogue because there's a lot you have to pick up on. It's definitely a complicated story. There's definitely a lot that's going on, so you have to be listening and you can't get behind.
How would you rate the movie overall out of well, give your own rating system actually if you'd like.
Rating system?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll go with just the our school grade system, and I'll give it in solid A. I really can't think of another action movie that's going to top this in the next few years. It set the bar extremely high, so hopefully Mission Impossible 7 can top it, but I honestly don't know if it will.
Are they making a seventh one?
Sure hope so.
I would give this probably an 11.5 out of 12. I thought this was a fantastic movie. I was really excited going into it, and I left the theater more excited.
Yeah.
I don't think there's ever been a movie where I felt like I needed to calm down after there was one other movie where I felt like I needed to take a minute to calm down after seeing it. That was Logan, where I just felt like I had seen so much I needed to just sit and just breathe for a little bit. And this is the only other movie where I felt like I had to decompress.
Not Infinity War?
Okay, now you got me there.
All right, don't stop crying.
Or real quick, you said that you thought this might be the best film of the year. Do you still stand by that?
Ooh, that's a good question. That's tough.
Was this better than Ant-Man and the Wasp?
Oh, leagues better than Ant-Man and the
Better
Wasp.
than Infinity War?
That's a little bit of a tougher question. I mean, they're very different movies. One has Tom Cruise, which you could probably count as a superhero. Breaking his ankle and running, 5 miles on camera. Or you can have,
I mean,
your favorite heroes disintegrate into ashes. So,
that movie,
from an action standpoint, Fallout does top it. Fallout may be my favorite movie of the year so far.
even more so than Black Panther, which I know you really love.
I do love Black Panther. It's tough. I don't know. I think this movie's too fresh for me to, have any flaws with it. I don't know. It's pretty darn good.
I would say it is possibly the best film of this year. And last
Possibly.
question, before we move on to the spoiler section. James Bond and the Mission Impossible movies have come into a lot of almost competition recently.
Right.
I'm saying as of now, the Mission Impossible franchise is definitely winning.
Oh, 100%. I think the Mission Impossible movies are way more.
It's not a surprise the Americans are doing a better version of a British thing.
Yeah, I would say the MI films are way more consistent than the Bond films. For instance, with Daniel Craig's Bond, I thought Casino Royale was amazing. Absolutely amazing. However, the follow-up, Quantum of Solace, I thought was bad.
And then Skyfall was great.
And then
though.
Skyfall was amazing, and then Spectre was okay. So it's a little spotty. I thought the MI films right now have a streak, a 4-movie streak, and I hope it only goes up from there. Now we're going to talk about spoilers.
Okay.
All right.
I have to ask, when I was in the theater, there weren't a lot of people because I saw it in the morning,
Right.
but at the end of the film, when there's the helicopter hook, and it catches Henry Cavill in the face and takes him off the cliff,
Yes.
everyone in the theater just went, "Oh, yeah!" at the same time. And I just remember thinking, he's so dead.
Yeah.
He's so
Oh yeah,
dead.
they wanted you to know that he was dead. Henry Cavill's character, I thought he was a really good character, and later turned into the villain. Towards the start of the movie, I was thinking to myself, I was like, in the trailers they make it look like he's the villain, but I was wondering if he wasn't, and they were going to team up, him and Ethan Hunt.
Yeah.
And I thought that was going to be really interesting, because I really liked his character, especially in the bathroom fight scene, when
That
he
was
takes off his
fantastic.
blazer, and then his punches were pretty heavy.
Oh, man.
So, and then, wow, yeah, that fight was incredible. Yeah.
I have to say, he did such a good job of playing a bad guy.
Correct.
There are very few times I've just hated a character. Not because they were portrayed badly, but because he was just a bad guy.
I couldn't hate him because he was Henry Cavill and he was so charismatic. He was so charismatic. I couldn't hate him.
He goes through the thunderstorm and then he goes, "Hey, looks like you
that was
looks like you lost your oxygen tank." And I was like, "You pretentious snob." I immediately disliked him. I will say, there's a scene where he's talking with Angela Bassett in France, and he goes, "Ethan Hunt is John Lark, I think." And at that point, I went, "Oh, I bet he's John Lark."
It was a little predictable. Sure.
So that's why I gave it an 11.5 out of 12.
Yeah. What I meant by the story was like nothing new. Was towards the end of the movie they have to disarm some bombs, and we've seen that quite a bit in movies. But it was done very well, and it was balanced really well with like what Ethan Hunt was doing in the helicopter, and what Benji and those characters were doing on the mainland. So yeah.
I love that Ving Rhames is in the movie.
Punk put a hole in my Versace.
And he's the only person that's
He's
been in.
incredible.
Well, because from the first 3 or so, there was no continuity at all other than Tom Cruise.
Right.
But they kept bringing in Ving Rhames, which was really funny.
Now he's a
And I love
classic.
that they still bring him back.
Yeah, and then the new the badass double agent Rebecca Ferguson. Her name is Elsa. Yeah.
Was she in the previous movie?
She was in Rogue Nation. That was her first movie.
Got it. Yeah, I did not remember that at all.
Yeah, she's incredible. And we did lose Alec Baldwin. So
Oh,
that was
yeah.
sad.
It's really hard to take him seriously when you think of him as the SNL president. So he'd be like,
Yeah.
"Ethan," and all I could hear was, "I have the biggest hands."
Yeah. And one thing I have learned from the series is never trust, never believe who's actually in the room, because they have this face mask technology, and so you should never believe who's really in that room, because it could be whoever they want it to be.
However, the movies come out far apart enough that I don't think about that when I go in.
That's the problem.
So that was great. So, all right, I enjoyed the movie. I enjoyed the serial. Am I missing anything?
I don't think so.
All right, I'm Mike. This is Aidan, and we're wrapping up from Serial Cinema.